So there's been an interesting discussion going around about Sonic Frontiers that has honestly piqued my interest. People are saying that Sonic Frontiers is unfinished, and some people are debating that Sonic Frontiers is a finished game. So I want to give my thoughts on, is Sonic Frontiers actually an unfinished game, and is this new DLC wave update finishing the game? Hey, hold up a minute. 75% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel, so why don't you consider subscribing if you've been enjoying the content? You may be like, hey, this might be too early in the video, but 43,000 of you guys keep coming back to these videos, so I'm talking to you. Why don't you hit the subscribe button? Thanks guys. So in my personal opinion, game development is not as simple as it seems, and things are not as just straightforward. I think Sonic Frontiers is a finished product. I think there's one thing we need to understand here. There's a difference between a finished product and a finished vision. For example, let's take the Super Smash Bros. Series. Masahiro Sakurai wanted to include a story mode on the scale of Brawl in previous entries, and he also wanted to include things like the final smashes in the very first Smash Bros. Game, but he couldn't due to technical limitations. Even Melee, I believe, was supposed to have final smashes, but that wasn't able to be done within that game. So just because he wasn't able to get that into the game, that doesn't mean the game is unfinished. A lot of people are calling Frontiers unfinished because of what they had to do for the end of the game with reutilizing the rest of Kronos or Oranos Island / Rhea Island. That isn't technically unfinished. The vision had changed a while back in development. Yes, originally Kronos was going to be one whole island that had Oranos and Rhea a part of it, but that is not what they decided to go with later on into the game. Because originally it seemed like the game was only going to have 3 islands, but they repurposed what they needed to repurpose in order to make it work, to meet an end goal of a finished product. That doesn't mean the game is unfinished by any means necessary, and that means story changes had to be made. But of course some slipped through the cracks with the Eggman memo mentioning only 3 islands. But that doesn't mean the game is unfinished because their original vision didn't come to fruition. Their vision had changed, and they met an end goal and met what they needed to meet in order to finish their game, which they did finish. Frontiers is a fully functioning game from beginning to end, and has a story from beginning to end. Now in terms of quality of life things, yeah, the game is a bit janky sometimes. Some animations feel a little half-baked, and I would say in aspects like those, it can lead to the product feeling unfinished, as in there could be more work done on it, but it's not unfinished in the sense of like they half worked through the game and just left things the way they were. Maybe there were some oversights here and there. I feel like there's always oversights in games, no matter what. Even the most polished games, there's oversights. Because simply no game is perfect. That's just the way it is. But I would say, yeah, some of the quality of life things are getting added in through DLC are nice to haves in my opinion. A photo mode doesn't need to be in a game day one. It doesn't need a jukebox mode, or challenge modes, or a Sonic birthday celebration, or open zone challenge, or whatever that is. And update 3 especially doesn't have to be in the base game because it wasn't needed in order to make the game function or, meet their original vision and goal, which is new playable characters and a new story. This is something that they're working on in the background and getting ready all the way probably up until late next year. Update 2 Sonic's birthday is more than likely releasing around June because that's when Sonic's birthday is. And Update 3 is likely coming near the end of the year of 2023. They're actively working on this stuff, not because it's been sitting in the files ready to go. So I don't believe this stuff means the game is unfinished. I feel like a lot of people just like to compare things. People are saying this is the Nintendo finish it later mentality, but I don't really think so. Nintendo does that with a lot of their games, such as Animal Crossing, where majority of the content feels missing and it has to be added into the game. Or some of their sports games where they're adding in whole characters that should have been there. Whereas Sonic Frontiers was a very curated single player experience that was, finished from start to end. The game was built completely around Sonic and really didn't have any opening to where you would think, oh, can I play as Knuckles here now or anything like that. The game is completely centered around Sonic and Sonic saving his friends. That's literally the entire game. So I don't know, I feel like people just like to compare things even when they don't make sense. My thing is, would these nice to haves be cool if they were in the base game? Yeah, I think so. If all of these were in the base game, that would be also cool, but this isn't something that was planned, I guess, to be in the base game. Or at least my suspicion is not all of it was. I feel like a photo mode probably would have been put in, but maybe it's just a little too late. Or the jukebox mode or something. But everything else feels like it's stuff that they're sitting down and taking time to make, as it's clearly not finished and it's going to take quite a while. And the crazy part is, all this stuff is free. And there's probably also going to be paid DLC, as it was mentioned, I believe, in some Sega press release or something, that there's probably going to be paid DLC for Sonic Frontiers, so there's probably going to be even more content for this game, which is pretty crazy to me. Mike Cisneros actually is a Sega employee and tweeted, "So the game wasn't finished?" And then he said, "No, our company is Sega Service Games. It's called Game Support and it's free. Enjoy your gift. Our team is working so hard on it." This is kind of confirmation that they're just going to keep supporting the game. I don't know, I'm not sure, but it also just kind of shows that this is just something extra that they're doing, and it's not something they're cutting from the game, and they're actually really working hard on getting this stuff into the game, because it's stuff that just didn't exist before. So yeah, I think Sonic Frontiers is a finished game that's getting extra content. I don't think this stuff means the game is unfinished. I kind of hate that mentality just because you get DLC that's free, by the way, that the game is unfinished. I feel like 90% of the games that people play are technically unfinished, as most people play games that are continuing service games, like Fortnite. Those games continually get DLC non-stop each season, and it doesn't stop. Is that game unfinished? It keeps getting DLC. This is the era of gaming that we live in. They want to add more content later. And honestly, it works better when you're trying to keep people more engaged with the game, is when you keep adding content over time. Spider-Man PS4, which is now on PC, they keep adding suits to that game years later, and that gets people coming back to the game. And it's a single player game. So yeah, I don't think this is a call to say the game's unfinished. And if you enjoy Frontiers and you're looking forward to this, just enjoy it. Or if you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't gotta download the DLC, I guess, or play the game again. I don't know. That's just my take on it here. I think the game is a finished product, and I don't know how many times I said that. Definitely repeated myself multiple times. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And like always, I'll see you in the next one.
Well, whatever happens, happens.